Welcome to the Fuel Only Podcast. My name is Shane Dunnigan here, as always, with the great Joey Glover. Joey,
what's going on?
What are we calling this podcast? No more short tracks? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, let's just go home. Let's just call it a show. And I mean, if NASCAR wants to kill themselves, what are we going to talk about? Let's just go home. Let's just push end recording.
No, we're not doing that, Joe. We got to give the people what they want.
All right.
Joey, what do you think? The All-Star race is in the books. What do you got?
It was horrible. I just have, I have a couple things. 800 laps ran by Joey Logano. And I'm not a big guy with, oh, that's so unfair. Everybody always wants the edge. So there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in NASCAR. It is what it is.
But there's got to be a limit. Got to be a limit.
800 laps. He knew exactly what groove he wanted on every restart. He knew exactly what he was doing. No one could even race him on restarts. It was just, 800 laps. He led 199 out of 200 when he came into the pits. I mean, come on, 200 laps, the same guy leading. It took him 15 laps. He couldn't pass a lapped car or a last on the lead lap, whatever you want to call it.
Bubba.
What are we doing here? I don't know. That's
the most exciting part of the race, Joe, was 3 laps in, or the second lap of the race.
Yeah. Was it even the second lap? Wasn't it like turn 3 or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, it was close. It was lap 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly. And he found a hole and he took it. And Kyle Busch is like, dude, our tires aren't even warm yet. And I get both sides. I don't think Ricky did anything crazy. I don't think it was crazy at all.
He didn't even hit him.
Your laps are the fastest on the first and second lap. He's like, let me gain some spots right here. And Kyle didn't expect it and kind of hit the wall because he had nowhere to go. McDowell came up, didn't give Ricky any room to go. It was like, that was it. If we're being completely honest, isn't that it that happened? And then we had fireworks at the end of the race. And we're lucky we had the fight because it was a horrible race.
Yeah, we'd have nothing else to talk about. We could just talk about how the short tracks are dead in these cars.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about. And I was listening to Joey Logano was on Harvick. I believe he's on Harvick this week.
Or Dale Jr., one of the two.
Dale Jr. Yeah, so sorry. And even he joked. He was like, that fight, how do you not open up social media and not see that? He goes, shit, I don't even remember who won the race.
I know, that was a good line. Yeah.
He's joking. And it's like, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. What was I doing? Oh, I was swimming that day. I was at my in-laws. I was swimming and I had paused it and I was like, oh, I'll catch up. I'll go through every lap. And you literally texted me and you're like, you can go through the 100 laps. And I was like, what? You're like, you didn't miss anything. And it was the same.
All you missed was Byron getting into the wall. Which wasn't great for him.
Yeah. And my pick, every pick I make is shit.
Stay away from the 5, Joe. Stay away.
I know, but it just doesn't make sense. All these guys have great weeks and I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I pick Byron and he finishes last. And it's like, okay. All right.
And he was at the test too. He was testing.
Exactly. So what's your take? I just gave you my,
So I listened to Denny. I listened to Denny's whole pod this week, and he's like, I know. And after watching practice, Denny was going, good year. I give you a lot of shit, but you guys finally got it right. And then he had to walk it back on his podcast. And he said, well, I think the only reason that practice was so good is because we were all out there on different schemes. So you were able to pass. Mm-hmm. And then when the race finally happened, nobody could pass. Usual short track racing, nobody can pass. Tire fall off at a new track. It was non-existent. So
no, both tires were the same basically, and it proved it. Ones went in. They wanted to get that advantage on the regulars, and it didn't do anything. The reds didn't fall off. They stayed out. It didn't do anything. So
the only guy who could pass, Joe, was the 5 car.
Was the 5 car. He was moving.
And he moved from the back all the way to the middle, and then he moved from the middle to the front. And then late race strategy, he took 4 tires, those scuffs that only had, and he had it, but he said, Larson said they filled him up. They filled him up too much. Yeah. And so he said once he passed like 5-6 cars and he got to 3rd, he couldn't pass Denny. And Denny wasn't going to let him by anyway.
No. And if he had started 2 spots further up on the restart, I think he would have gotten both of them. But he used up so much, and it just wasn't there. And
for about 5 minutes, Joe. For about 5 minutes,
we thought it.
Race.
Oh, 100%. I thought it was his, which was going to be crazy after, flying, driving 234 miles an hour, qualifying 5th, which is so crazy.
Taking the jet, taking the helicopter.
Taking the helicopter to the jet to the helicopter, flying in. It was like he's the president right now. They're pushing back start times for him.
We'll get to that in Charlotte.
Yeah, they're it's just crazy. They're pushing start times back. They're waiting to see what's going on with the weather. The weather looks horrible for Indy, which sucks. I don't know. I'm not an Indy fan. I've never watched a full 500. I don't know what happens with weather delays. I don't know.
So I was doing some research while we're on the topic, Joe. It appears that the Indy 500 has only been completely postponed 3 times. So I think generally what they try to do is they try to wait for rain to subside and then they run. And then they'll
even into the night
it if they have to. Yeah, and then they'll like run like 100 laps. Rain picks back up. They'll stop and go the next day. So that's really not a good look for Larson. No, because Larson already said his priority is the 600.
Oh yeah, and Mr. H, they interviewed Mr. H, and he said, it's going to be tough to pull him, but if push comes to shove, NASCAR is his number one. You have to get the points. It's a money thing. Rick's not going to, just because he's racing the Indy 500, give up points, money points. It just doesn't, unfortunately. And what's a Coca-Cola 600 right now without Larson? It just doesn't make any sense. NASCAR wouldn't allow it. NASCAR's not going to come out and fully say, hey, Larson better be here or we're going to have some issues. But there's no, you can't have an all-star race.
So you were swimming. Did you watch the driver intros?
I didn't. No. So I had it on. And then when the race started, I paused it.
They did the driver intros. Usually they're stupid, right? They walk out with some T-shirts and some hats. Everybody boos Denny. Bubba gets booed. The usual. But they said Chase came out, and they go, the most popular driver in NASCAR, Chase Elliott. And then Boyer goes to Harvick and goes, are you sure he's still the most popular? Because I think this other guy's the most popular. Talking about the 5. And the booth got real quiet because Chase is their boy, right? Chase is NASCAR's boy.
Oh, 100%.
But Larson, how
is he not?
He's moving the needle. He's moving the needle right now, Jeff.
He has, whether he's most popular or not, he's the most
interesting.
It's kind of like Steph Curry has to be the most popular, but he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't get as much recognition as LeBron and. These guys that, and I think that's like a Larson. He's not getting he is though. Everybody says he's the GOAT. They know he's the greatest right now, but it is different. I don't know. But
so they have it's like, what's his name? Mike, who's the guy that does Chris Myers? Is it Chris Myers?
Chris Myers.
Yeah.
Chris Myers is
Chris Myers. It was Chris Myers and Harvick and Boyer, and they're all interviewing people like in the infield up on this platform before the race. And Denny's there getting interviewed. And, they're doing the Denny thing. You're having a great year. What do you think of this track? You're complimenting the tires. They're jerking off North Wilkesboro. And then they're about ready to cut Denny out. And Denny goes, look at this. And he grabs this little whiteboard. And on the whiteboard, it goes, talk about Larson. Talk about this. Larson's here. And Denny, he's like, this is what you guys really want. It's the 5 car, and then Larson walks up the stairs at the same time and they're about to cut. And Denny just gives him a little pat on the back and Larson doesn't even look at him, He was like, I think Larson was exhausted. He looked exhausted at that.
100%.
So I wonder if, the 500 being delayed might actually help him a little bit, because could you imagine you run 500 miles at 220 miles an hour, you're holding on for dear life. And then you go run 604 stages.
And we talked about it.
In the 600.
Yeah. And we talked about, it's not a physically tired. I think
it's mental
at 600, but mental at Indy. If he was doing it every single weekend, you have less, like you said, not that he can fake it through a 600, because doesn't matter who you are. The wear and tear of 600 miles is not easy, but having to concentrate every single lap in the 500 with traffic and trying to win, that's not easy. I don't care. I don't give a shit how good he is. how good of a driver he is. That's not good for you. Not good, not in that way, but mentally, he is going to be so focused, laser focused every single lap to not mess up, not to do this. Where are these guys at? NASCAR, he knows what he's doing. He knows
when you Google stuff now, Joe, you ever see that they do the new AI thing?
Mm-mm.
So if you Google something, like AI will try to give you the answer that they think you're looking for. So I just Googled NASCAR or Kyle Larson career starts. How many NASCAR starts do you think he's made?
Well, Chase, I think, is his 300th is coming up Sunday. So 400.
And Larson missed a whole year. 364 career starts. So
almost
from
400.
that perspective, he could kind of, he could fake it through a race. I think he might have faked it through the All-Star race a little bit. He was just chilling.
Yes. And then he was like, all right, he got a little second wind. I mean, I can't imagine how he slept that night. He could have slept anywhere. He could have slept on a
helicopter,
on a park bench. He could have slept on, but I hope he's ready. It's gonna suck. I mean, we texted and we said this is gonna be the first full 500 that I watch.
I hope they push it to Monday.
Yeah, I
really do.
Yeah, because everybody's off. I mean,
selfishly,
why not? Yeah. I wanted to. I mean, I want to see him in the 500. I think he's gonna win? I don't think he's gonna win. Penske is
fast.
I mean, I watched qualifying and they have like 6 qualifying, but
which is crazy. They have like a 2-week qualifying,
2-week practice, 2-week qualifying. It's like, Jesus Christ, what is NASCAR doing?
Imagine if they did that for Daytona, like how they used to do the duels, or they do the dual races and stuff, trying to get people excited.
Yeah,
but imagine if they did a 2-week lead up for the Daytona 500. That'd be
fun.
Yeah,
except you got the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is a week before, and so I guess there's less
waste management and stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Joey, we're gonna print the shirts, and they're gonna say no more short tracks, and we're gonna be wearing
no more short tracks. Yeah.
And when we go to Sonoma, in a couple weeks, we're gonna be handing them out, because you know what, Joe? NASCAR's in trouble. They better get off these short tracks next year when the schedule comes out.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was saying is
it's not good racing. It's not good racing.
Logano was talking to someone, was talking to Harvick, and I don't remember. I watched so many clips. I listened to the Corey LaJoie podcast. Listening to Stenhouse was fun. But Joey Logano and Harvick said they hope that next year is a points race, and they want to race 400 miles at Northwell.
But they already announced that it's. But then Denny goes, "Do you want to watch us do that for 2 more hours?" It's like, do you want to watch us drive in circles? Denny did say if there was lap traffic, that would have helped. Not having those other 10 cars at the back of the field.
Exactly.
Because then you can have passing, then the field comes
another
back
17. Another 17 cars, because there was only 20.
The problem is, Denny said it, you have to have the tires as soft as possible. You need the tires to fail. If the tires don't fail, they're all the same.
Exactly.
Where you start is where you finish.
Look at the races that, I'm trying to think. There was a couple races where Bell fell off, the 54 fell off, and it was like people started passing people, and it was like, they're too much. And it might have been Bristol, but I don't think it was Bristol.
Bristol was the best. Bristol's the only good short. Could have been Dover. Dover didn't race like a short track though, because they have the intermediate package on it.
So I don't know.
But for short tracks, Bristol was the best.
Yeah, because
the tires failed.
The tires just failed. So everybody was like scrambling. It was just too easy.
So,
but yeah, Joey, I mean, we could talk about this all day. No more short tracks. No more short tracks.
We're gonna do a shorter pod today because
we're chapped.
We're slightly chapped, and you got to go. So, what I wanted to do, Joe, is we're about halfway through the.
Can we talk about the fight first?
Yep, we'll talk about the fight.
Can we talk about the fight real quick?
I want to tease it though. We're gonna do our top 3 favorite moments of the year so far.
Yes.
So I want to tease that.
If anybody let's talk about the fight. And if anybody listens weekly, I mean,
God bless
you know what our favorite 3 things. You could probably imagine. But yeah, the fight. I just wanted to go to that, and I listened to Ricky Stenhouse on the Corey LaJoie podcast, and I've never had an issue with Stenhouse. He's always had an uphill battle. He's never been on a big team. He was on Roush. He drove for Roush for a while, back starting, I don't know, 2009, maybe it was, I think he had said. And he never had what it took. He wasn't horrible. He's still not horrible. But
good super speedway racer.
Yeah, he has 2 plate wins. And I don't know,
he's got a great name too. Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. There's something about a junior being on the end.
Yeah, they got great names. And he's on a one-man team. I was listening to him. It sucks for him. I understand both sides. We'll get your take in a second. This is my take.
Go for it.
I have no issue with Kyle being upset. He's had a horrible season. He thought, he jumped in on lap 1. There's no unwritten rule. There's no written rule on that. I guess he feels there is. He's a one-man team. I get it. You want to go out there and you want to have some fun. You want to see where you're at. You can try different things. It's not a point race. And you got 35 guys that work for JTG. And you get taken out and completely trashes the car on lap 2. And that's a tough pill to swallow. And Ricky, is going to stand up for himself. Of course he is. He's going to stand up for those 35 guys that put in the work every single week. And they don't have the money that, Childress does. And for him, his comments where I thought it was amazing. He said, maybe, after the race, like, what, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, maybe Childress will hold my watch. And, on the podcast, he kind of said, Corey LaJoie kind of called him out and he goes, was it more about you said something, you have to kind of go through with it if you say that, you know what I mean? And he kind of said, he goes, yeah, after saying that, but he said, if he would have just apologized, it would have diffused the system.
Backed off,
the situation. And he didn't. And he kept going like, oh, all right. And he's like, that was it. And do I think it was the right thing? No. It's an all-star race, whatever. But at some point, one-man team, you're trashed a car. You don't have the money that these other guys do. You got to stand up for yourself. And, Kyle is one that does what Ricky does. What Ricky did. He's the guy that's going after people and whatever. So I didn't see anything wrong with either side. I mean, it sucks. Like Ricky said, he woke up the next morning and he apologized and he was just like, I shouldn't have done that. There's kids watching, it's not good. But at the same time, I got wrecked for no reason. I made a move that was there. Didn't even touch him. So I don't think what Ricky did was wrong. I don't think what Kyle taking him out. I think he shouldn't have done that. But I don't know. What do you think?
A couple things. I think I loved what Ricky did where he parked his car in Kyle's pit box and climbed the ladder and just said, I'm effing dumping you next week. Like, I think that was really cool. Then he did the interview and talked about holding his watch. But the thing that many people didn't know, and I didn't know, is you can't get out of the infield at North Wilkesboro. It's such an old track. There's no tunnel. And there's no bridge. So he had to sit there for 2 hours
just stewing
in it. So that's a huge factor because, most of the time this guy, you just left, right? Race is over. Get the hell out of there. Go get a beer.
He said he'd be at home. If it was any other racetrack, he would have been at home and he's stewing. And that's a good point. That's a good point. And
then like you said, Kyle had another altercation with Hocevar, right? Didn't he run into the back of Hocevar?
One of them.
Yeah.
I forget.
Somebody.
I think it was.
And then you could tell Kyle was hot when he got out of the car. And like you said, Ricky gave him a chance to say, my bad. And then you could just see Ricky with his right hand just waiting for a little bit of daylight to just punch him right in the face. And he got it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the best punch, but 100%. It was a punch. And then every NASCAR fight's
he got him on the side.
Every NASCAR fight's crazy because security comes out of nowhere, and then like the crews are like going at it.
That.
It's quick.
Like that. Yeah, the big dude, big Haas was just throwing people off the hauler.
He was throwing people off the hauler, and I get that because that's your space.
Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky Stenhouse mentioned. Corey LaJoie asked him, "What was your how mad were you when you got out?" He said it was an 11, and he said, "Okay, so when you're waiting for Kyle because you're waiting for him, what was your angry index at that out of a 10?" And he said, "No, 5, 6." But then when he got up to his face, it moved up to an 8. And then he didn't diffuse the situation, and it was back at an 11. So I understand it. But yeah, there was many great things to that, and it saved the race.
I would agree.
I mean, it did. And the funny part is who won the race? And it's like we know who won the race, but nobody talks about it after. I mean, It was on Barstool, it was on ESPN, it was on everything. You went through social media. There was nothing about Joey Logano winning All-Star race. It was about the punch that Stenhouse Sr. got a couple shots from Kyle. So,
Ricky Sr.
Yeah, he got some shots. Did you see the fines and the suspensions?
No.
And all that. So nothing for Kyle Busch. He got nothing. Stenhouse $75,000. So $75,000 for a punch. His couple crew guys or whatever, got suspensions. Stenhouse Sr. Banned indefinitely.
Can't have him around.
Which I get that. You can't be in the pits and being involved in it. Let him be. Let him be. You're standing around. You're just a dad. Just let him sit. But you got in there. He was throwing some punches, and it's like, dude, you can't do that, bro.
No.
So he lost his hard card, as they say it, his VIP to be back there. So overall, though, I liked it. It's good. It's good for the sport. It's like in a hockey fight, and nothing against hockey. I don't think hockey's a top tier sport, but when you get a fight, it's everybody stops and watches. It's like Barry Bonds going for number 73. Everybody stopped what they were doing and watched, and everybody was watching.
100%.
When that fight hit. I mean, I went I just went straight to social media to see just to see all the angles and see everything, and it's good for it. So, all right,
Joey, let's do our top 3. I'll let you go first.
So, well, yeah, I mean, we all know what number 1.
Do you want to do it in no particular order, or do you want to do it in like you want to go 3, 2, 1?
No particular order.
Okay, no particular order. I like that better.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know what. You know what? I think this is on yours, so I'm gonna go with it first. And it's gonna be the best. Are we going to our favorite or 3 of the biggest things?
Just 3 moments from the first half that really
that I enjoyed. And this is a no-brainer. And it's Larson's .00000.
Larson Buscher. Okay, we'll each take that one. That'll be because that was obviously on my list.
That's going to be on everybody's list. When we relive that, and I know Buscher. I mean, I've still rewatched it, and him letting just Kyle go up top and just letting him run the top just didn't make any sense. And I know he falls asleep every night thinking about it still.
Yeah.
And it puts a smile on our face. Larson running that high line.
Door banging.
It was cool. It was cool. Yeah, and he came down, and I think when we were talking, someone was saying McDaniels was like in his ear, or spotter, like he's going low, like go down, like get into him, to slow him down, and he did, and everybody's upset. Like they said, if that was Hamlin bumping Buscher like that twice, people would have been up in arms. And it's Larson. It's like, oh, this is great. So, but yeah, that we'll split that one. So we'll split that one. You want me? So that's 1.
I'll go number 2. So
okay, go number 2.
We each shared that for number 1. Number 2 was Atlanta, and that race, Joe. So I went back and I was like looking at our podcast like for reference, and to have that, like, I'm so looking forward to the next time they run there.
Oh, yeah,
because the level of racing, Joe, was so good.
Yep, that was Briscoe. I put just so for my third. I mean, not in any order, but my third was the 3 wide. And just Briscoe, just Atlanta, just the racing, just everything about Atlanta.
The speed, Joe. The speed.
Yep.
The everybody passing. I mean, that race. I almost want to go back and watch it. It was so good.
I know, and that So that's mine on there. So then we have 2 that
of the same. Different. 2 of the same.
We have 2 of the same, and we didn't beforehand. We didn't
talk
share
about
this with
each
other. Because we knew, you have to go with things, and that's what stands out. So, and then the third, obviously, this is for me, and that's Chase Elliott's win. That was I haven't had those feelings since 2021. So, the nerves and the finish, and Chastain getting taken out, and it yeah, that was fun. Chase definitely getting back on the board. He's been fine, third or fourth in points. And that's one thing I was going to say is just the biggest mistake I made in the first half of the season. Actually, let's get to your let's go to your third, and then let's say
and then you can you can wax about Chase for a little bit.
No. What we were wrong about in the first half of the season.
Okay.
If there's anything that you can think about, what's your third?
My third was Bristol, and I remember being on the way to my aunt's wedding, and being in the car watching that race, and being like, these people, they cannot drive over 30 laps or 40 laps on a set of tires. They used 4 sets of sticker tires in stage one. The Goodyear tire guy was on the broadcast. They pulled tires out of the truck.
Trailers. Yep. Out of the haulers. Yep.
And only 5 people finished on the lead lap. So that Bristol race was, I'm not going to forget it.
No, nobody will ever forget it. And yeah, we're going to see what happens. Because when do we go back to Bristol?
We don't. Maybe playoffs?
No,
I don't think we do. Because last year we did Bristol Dirt, and we still have Martinsville and Richmond again. Ugh.
So it was a one time Bristol.
Joey, honorable mention was Viva Las Larson. That was fun to watch, but that didn't crack. Yes. That didn't crack the top 3.
I looked that up, but so Bristol. So let me look this up real quick and give me something, off the top of your head. What were you wrong about? What was something that
Christopher Bell
thought?
Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
After Phoenix, I thought Christopher Bell was going to. Joey, I may or may not have took him at 9-1 to win the Cup Series championship. Which you never know. You never know. It's a long season. But Christopher Bell was one that I thought, man, he's going to take a big step. I thought Ty Gibbs was going to take a big step this year.
Yep, I was wrong about that.
Reddick's been about as good as I thought he would be. Reddick's been fine.
So that's first off, we go back to Bristol
again.
September 21st. Yep,
that's playoffs.
September 21st, Bass Pro Shop night race. Ooh. America's night race in September 21st.
What's the first playoff race? Atlanta?
Yes. Yep.
And then is it Bristol the week after?
I don't know. I could go through the schedule, but I just searched fall race.
Okay, well, so there's a couple things. You tell me what you think. NASCAR.
There was a couple things we were wrong around. Yeah, there was a couple things we were both wrong on. I'm not going to say we raved about it, but Ford's speed at anything other than the short tracks was non-existent.
No.
Was horrible. We were so wrong about Ford. And I was wrong. I was, we both about Chase Elliott. I completely, I didn't see it coming. I thought, maybe by the end of the year, I was so hard on him. We made fun of him, and the dude's third in points, fourth in points, whatever, has a win. But the Ford thing is the biggest shocker to me. That was the biggest thing that, if you re-listen to probably the first 4 podcasts, I think I might have taken Ford to win 2 of the races. We talked about how Ford was this powerhouse with that's all they had were those. So it was interesting.
Well, after Blaney in the playoffs last year, it was like,
exactly.
It
was a big fall off.
Like every
week. They changed it to the dark horse. So they had some issues, but hey, they've been good the last couple of weeks. They changed the engine or whatever they did. They won't tell us what it was. Harvick said they changed something, but yeah. So did you look it up?
Yeah. So
what's
NASCAR playoffs, just quickly, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, go to the Glen, Joe.
Bristol
Chase
needs to get his first win. Or his
Bristol night race. Kansas. Remember how good Kansas was?
Great. Kansas.
Talladega. Okay. Charlotte Roval, which they always run the Roval in the playoffs, which I always find interesting.
Okay.
Vegas, Miami, Martinsville, Phoenix.
See, such great racetracks in
no Texas. And no Texas in the playoffs.
No Texas.
But I think they're running Texas twice this year or no? Texas
no, they didn't. No,
just once.
No, they did. They did the Roval at Texas or the whatever they call it, the circuit. And then
Circuit of the Americas.
So there's
but
so
they need to get rid of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They need to get rid of a short track on the backside.
Yes,
and run Texas twice next year.
Agreed. 100%. I agree.
I don't need Richmond. Are we going to Martinsville in the playoffs
again? Yes, we'll go to Martinsville.
Yeah, but they got Richmond twice on the schedule. I would be fine if we didn't run Richmond twice.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, well, nothing's going to change with the short tracks. The car is the same. They're not going to be doing anything. The only thing that changes is if they show, not if they show up, if NASCAR or Goodyear gives them those same tires and says, "Here, go to Richmond. Here's your tires. You get 12 sets this time, and hey, you see what happens. See how good your driver is at saving tires and strategize.
You have to do something.
That's the only way it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
because look at Bristol. Bristol was talked about like crazy because it was
Bristol
so
was a great race
hectic.
Because the tire
because it was hectic. And Denny Hamlin showed that he is a veteran and he knows how to race a car, and he knew how to do it. He got 60 laps out of his tires to win the race,
and nobody else could.
Nobody. So he was doing something right.
Truex was okay, but
but then he fell off at the end, and that was
that was it.
So it would be fun, and why not do it? What do they have to lose? Oh, people are mad after, or they're disappointed that we had to watch them. I don't know, whatever. So
remember Larson had a cold take. Remember Larson had a cold take after Bristol and was like, "This sucked."
Oh God, yeah.
And then
I hope I don't ever have to do that again.
Somebody talked to him and was like, "Dude, that was great." He's like, "Oh wait, it was actually really good."
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
No.
All right, Joey, on to Charlotte. Let's go to
say.
Charlotte because we're getting up against it.
Joey,
initial thoughts. Charlotte 600, mile and a half track. Bring it on. What do you got?
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing racing. It's gonna be just like Kansas. It's just gonna be just like Texas. 600 laps, 600 miles. It's gonna be fun. I mean, I can't wait to sit down. Know that we have Monday off. It's a holiday. It's just gonna be an experience. All the cars, red, white, and blue. It's America. It's perfect. It's
the airspace, Joey. The airspace will be compromised.
Yeah, they're gonna let two presidents in. They're gonna let Trump be there, and then they're gonna have to make an exception for the vice president Larson coming in. So, well, I don't know. He may not. If there's no weather and he's there early, it doesn't matter. So
yeah. So we'll monitor it. We'll monitor that situation.
But
Joe, I was watching the 2023 race back last night.
I know you sent me. I woke up this morning and it was Hamlin sliding up into Chase, putting him in the wall, and then Chase just said
wrecking him. That was funny.
And then he cried after the race. Check his thing. Check the data. He turned the wheel.
Check the data. Yeah, of course he turned the wheel. Did you watch it? We watched it. So. That race was interesting, Joe. Guess who won that race?
I forget.
Blaney.
Oh.
Blaney won that race. Okay. So Blaney won, what was it? Byron second, Truex third, Bubba fourth, Reddick fifth. Obviously, Hamlin wrecked. Larson got loose on a restart late in the race and wrecked.
Yes,
and then they cut to.
I'm gonna rewatch it. Did you watch all of it, or you just highlights?
I watched the highlights. 2022 Coca-Cola 600 winner Denny Hamlin. Mm-hmm. So Denny and Blaney have won there in the new car.
Shit, just dropped my phone. Excuse me.
You're fine.
And I'm gonna pull up odds real quick while you're going over Charlotte.
I was watching the race though, Joe, and I found that. I'm like thinking to myself, it's almost like for a mile and a half, it's a quad oval. So it's a little bit different. It almost races like Atlanta. It's because it's almost a lot. It's a lot of 2x2 and the restarts, it's almost like
at
drafting.
The start finish line. It's like, where it's not straight away. It's the
track's a little different. And when I was researching it, I was like, is it more like Texas or is it more like Atlanta? And obviously Atlanta had a repave, but the comments that I was reading say that it's more like Atlanta. So I'm expecting some fast
we're going to have
racing.
some racing. Oh, we're going to have racing for sure.
And it'll be a night race too.
And you texted me and said it's going to be hot. Going into during the day, it's going to be 88. So during at night, I mean, we're still going to be, hopefully at kickoff.
But it'll be 6 p.m. The sun will be out.
80
and
degrees.
It'll still be warm, and then the track will change. The sun will go down, and everybody will get, the track will tighten up.
Exactly. And that's where the good teams and the good crew chiefs, they make the adjustments. Let's see.
So what do you got? Do you send me the odds?
I just sent you the odds.
All right, let's do it. Give me your first pick, Joe.
We're going DraftKings, courtesy of DraftKings.
Shout out DraftKings.
God, Chase Elliott's odds are a little better than I wanted.
I know.
Or a little worse than I wanted. I'm going Chase Elliott.
Whoa, good here. 11-1?
11-1. NASCAR, usually he's been up in the 16, 17s. They just don't believe in him still. But 11-1, that moves him up a lot higher than I thought. Like Byron, 10-1. Blaney, 10-1. Kyle Larson, just a heavy favorite again. 4.5 to 1. Hamlin,
I don't think Larson. I think if Larson has to run the Indy 500, I wouldn't take him. But if the race gets postponed, then I think he's got a great shot.
As long as he gives his all. I don't know. I haven't checked. Usually I follow Bob and Jeff Gluck and all them. Schedule is this week? What is he getting? Just as much practice as everybody else?
That's what I asked you about. I said, is he going to qualify and practice at Charlotte or what? He's going to have to, because I don't think Harvick's. Yeah. So he's going to be traveling a lot.
That's what I don't know if he is full on the 600. Not that I'm not saying whether he runs or not Indy. If he has a full setup and the full practice, gets to qualify, and he knows his car, and he doesn't race the Indy 500, I feel like he has the biggest shot to win. But I don't know. That's what's hard. You have no idea. So we'll see. But I'm going Chase Elliott, 11-1. My picks have been horrible, so it doesn't even matter who I pick. Me picking him he's going to wreck. So, and we will go back and take this soundbite and play it next week if that happens. Because look at it. You could go back and forth. You could go through every single podcast, every pick I make, except for I think one or two. I went back and looked. Either crashed, got caught up, went a lap down, something happened. So I wanted to take Larson, but I'm on probation still.
You're on probation, Joe, until you pick another winner. I think Bubba Wallace 30-1 is great value, but I'm not taking him.
Oh,
that's a huge number for him. I think Chris Buescher, Joe. I'm going to go Ford. He's the angriest man on the planet. Maybe besides Ricky Stenhouse's dad. He's been up
there.
So 11-1, I think that's really good.
Ford has figured it out. Brad is 12-1 and Buescher's 14-1. Okay, so RFK has figured something out. The SF Giants have just came back and won the game in the end. Wow, 7-6.
No way.
Yeah. I was just watching it. 6-2.
They came back last night. Did you see that last night?
They did. Yeah. Then they
choked the day before. But we're not a Giants podcast.
No, we're not. It's just that it's good to see a Bay Area team. That's we're just. But cool. Wow, it just popped up on my breaking news. But RFK has figured it out. Whatever they did, I don't know. Logano is a Ford. They've won 2 in a row. I don't take.
He's a short tracker. Race. He's a short tracker.
And I don't take that race for anything. Nobody gives a shit, as Denny Hamlin said in his podcast. He goes, nobody gives a shit that Joey Logano won the race. They wouldn't have given a shit if I won the race. Hamlin is he's amazing. I love that guy now. I don't like him on Sundays on the track.
No,
I don't like him.
He's tough on Sundays.
Off the track, I'd love to go golfing with him, grab a beer. It'd be fun.
And just let him shoot the crap with you.
Shoot the shit. The shit talking and it would be fun. It would be fun. And back in the day, I thought that about him. He's grown so much on me. But we'll see Sunday. As long as he crashes, it makes my Sundays better. But so Chase and Buescher. Well, let's see what happens. You want to pick one more or no? That's fine.
No, I'm good.
Long
Joey,
shot.
We shot for Bub was my long shot, 30-1. So
all right,
Joey, we aimed for 30 minutes. We're right at 40, so I think we did pretty good.
That was perfect. I like to talk a little bit about NASCAR. We love NASCAR. This is what we love. So
we do.
I can't wait to be at Sonoma and do a podcast up there. That's going to be fun. So, as we say, where were we? Where were we just at?
North
Wilkesboro
was not fun.
It was not fun. That's what I was trying to go to. It was not fun. Hopefully Charlotte will be fun. So as we say, please drink responsibly.
God bless America.
Peace.